What's up, everybody? Happy Tuesday night. We are almost to Christmas. This is the last live WDWNT show of the year, and so happy to have you with us. So before we get any further into our review, I have to introduce my good friend, Patrick Hackett. How are you?
Hey, Rob, you're my best customer.
Oh, that's a that's a line from a movie. So tonight, Patrick, we're not going to jingle part of the way.
No.
We're not going to jingle half the way. No. Tonight, we jingle all the way.
Oh, I thought we were going to jingle bell, jingle bam.
No. Okay. We're doing our review on the Fox classic that is on Disney Plus, Jingle All the Way. Now, Patrick, I know you're a huge fan, so I need to know what it is that just draws you to this movie so much.
I have no idea how this movie found its way into my life, but it is a multiple time a season watch for me. It could be that I knew the Big Show from WWE was in it. WCW at that time, he was the Giant. He plays the big Santa Claus. There's just something about it that struck a chord with me. I've always been a big Schwarzenegger fan, so I don't know, but man, I'm glad this movie found its way into my life. And you got Arnold, you got Sinbad. What's not to like? Yeah, Rob, you are not being heard.
Yeah, I was reading up on this today. It has to happen once, won't happen again. I was reading up on this today, and they were saying that Joe Pesci was actually originally in the running for the role that Sinbad got in this one. And can you imagine what a different movie this would have been had it been Joe Pesci wrestling with Schwarzenegger for a doll?
I think it had to be Sinbad. I think Sinbad makes it. He was really kind of a family-friendly guy at that point in time. He was obviously just coming off the 90s hit Kazam. It's not that's not a movie that happened.
No. Anyway, so there are a lot of surprises in this as far as actors for me, and so let's talk about that in a minute. But I want to start with the basic premise of this movie is that there is this toy that everyone wants, which is you're a father, you probably, if you haven't been through this yet with your daughter, you're going to be at some point where it's that one thing you can't get a hold of, whether it's a PS5 or a Cabbage Patch doll. There's always that one thing that you can't get your hands on that as a parent, you just it just fills you with anxiety of how am I going to do this and get this for my kid? And so the Turbo Man is the doll, and I have my Turbo Man right here. Yeah, be jealous.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
It's a Turbo Man holding a Turbo Man.
A Turbo Man.
Yeah.
You pulled out a pop I didn't even know existed.
How about that? So it's a story of the dad trying to find the toy for his son, but there is also this story within a story about Turbo Man. There's a whole mythology about Turbo Man and what he all of his villains and the world that he's from and his powers, and it's kind of reminiscent of another toy that we know, Buzz Lightyear, which again I've read Chris Columbus was a little bit inspired by that because the year before Buzz Lightyear was the hard toy to get.
So this is one of those scripts that had kicked around Hollywood forever, and it wound up mimicking a couple things, but it was based off of the Cabbage Patch Kids dolls, which is funny because I know my parents went through that to try and get my sister one back in the day, and it wound up coming out. I do believe it came out right around the Tickle Me Elmo. Yeah, right around the Tickle Me Elmo craze as well. So you add Toy Story, Tickle Me Elmo, the Cabbage Patch, and it's actually a timeless story. I think it really fits in well, and the larger lessons of it's about the season and family and being present for people. It's not about the gifts you give. I think really resonates in a way that I don't think I expected it to.
Well, and I mean, we see this theme a lot of the whole the parent is absent, whether it's Tim Allen in the Santa Claus not being there for his son until he's brought into the world of Santa, or in the movie Elf where Walter Hobbs is still, he's all about work, and that's the premise is that he's too much about work. He's not there with his family. In this one, it's Christmas Eve, and Arnold Schwarzenegger, Howard, is spending his entire day trying to track down this doll that he should have been on top of from the start. And that's another problem, obviously, in this, is that he was supposed to do it like 2 weeks ago, and here it is Christmas Eve, and everywhere he goes, everyone's laughing at him for trying to get a Turbo Man this close to Christmas.
Yeah. And I think everybody has been there, looking for that one thing. I remember when the FN, I forget Finn's number, but when the Finn pop came out, people were like storming Target trying to find that pop. I was there every single day. So I know what it's like as a collector, just going places and being told no, and people kind of laughing, be like, yeah, no, I bought that and resold it.
Okay, so the toy thing, though, apparently a lot of people can't relate to this, because Chief in chat is saying, I remember reading about Tickle Me Elmo. That was crazy. Can you imagine someone who didn't live through Tickle Me Elmo? And then a lot of people, Dawn says, I think my Cabbage Patch is still at my parents' house. So, yeah, again, a lot of people have a lot of passion for these toys. Here's another thing, though, that struck me about this movie is there's a scene where Sinbad is sitting in a diner with Howard, played by Arnold Schwarzenegger, and they're having this conversation, and Sinbad talks about how his old man let him down because there was a toy he wanted as a kid and he didn't get it, and he thinks it ruined his life. And I'm looking back on this and I'm like, first of all, if you thought you were going to solve my anxiety as a parent about this before, now you're saying that every holiday, if I don't get that one toy that my kid wants, I'm going to ruin them forever. But then thinking about the Santa Claus again, those were the times where Judge Reinhold's character and Neil and then the mom are both like kind of looking back, and they're just, it's burned into their psyche, these things they didn't get for Christmas. These are the things that broke their belief in Christmas, that they didn't get these things. And so this seems to be a theme too, is, it's going to turn out okay, but what would happen if he didn't, get the doll, and the pressure that puts on us as parents?
Well, what happens if Ralphie doesn't get the Red Ryder BB gun?
I guess he doesn't grow up to be in Iron Man. That's how that happens. So I mean, it's really like there's a lot of pressure to be able to get these toys, and I think that's kind of a sub series or a sub story that they are not really. It's a theme that's in there that hit with me more so rewatching it now than it did maybe the first time I watched it in '96.
Yeah, no, a lot of stuff hit with me differently, and I think being a parent, did I watch it last year? It's either the first or second time I've watched it as a parent. And it's, it's a real different world, and I'm hoping that I can raise my daughter to not need any particular present. But I know my wife went out of her way to make sure that she got something. I'm now wondering if my daughter's ever going to watch me on YouTube, and I'm having a very existential crisis at the moment.
Because what if this all comes back to bite you, right?
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's back up a little bit then and talk about the story within the story, the Turbo Man story. When this thing first opens up, we meet. It opens up with Turbo Man. It's almost like if you had gone to the theater and didn't know what you were getting into. It almost feels like you would have been starting to watch a superhero movie, right? So here's Turbo Man, and we get to meet Turbo Man and his sidekick Booster.
Nobody likes Booster.
Nobody likes Booster. And apparently, I think some of the inspiration for this whole series and this world came from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, which I was so obvious to me when it came in. Like the gadgets and the villains. I mean, it did feel so very Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
Yeah. Also, the Rocketeer definitely shows a bit of influence on this as well. I forgot about this opening. I always thought it opened with him in the office. I did not remember the whole pre-coda of Turbo Man.
Now, the Santa Claus opens with him in the office, so, I mean, maybe that was the confusion, is that there's a little bit of that, too. He's got a young son. The young son is disappointed that he's never there, and, so there are some similarities there. But when we back away from this, we back away and see that his son was actually watching, all of this unfold on TV. So now we've been brought out of, the Turbo Man movie, and we're here, with his son, and he is such a huge Turbo Man fan. Like, they couldn't have teed this up more in your face to say how big a disappointment it was going to be if he didn't get this. And then
the stakes are really high immediately.
Yeah. And then his son is played by Jake Lloyd, which I did not
remember that either.
I did not remember that, and if you guys are not familiar with Jake Lloyd playing young Anakin Skywalker in The Phantom Menace, here's our boy. Here he is hanging out. This must have been. I mean, I don't know. I feel like this was the role Jake Lloyd was like, made
The
to.
precocious kid.
Yeah.
Do you know what I thought it was? I thought it was Zach and Cody for a second when I looked at first. I know they have real names. I have no idea what they are.
No, I mean, just stick with Zach and Cody. The Sweet Life of Zach and Cody. Yeah.
Archie? Is one of them Archie now?
Yep. You nailed it.
Okay,
That's
cool.
exactly. It has
Not
not.
one.
No, it's Jughead. Anyway.
Ha!
So then we find that he is Arnold Schwarzenegger's son. He's he's going to a big, I don't know, karate exhibition where he's going to get his blue belt, and then
He was going to purple.
it looks exactly. I can't. Is it purple or is it blue? Is it purple?
I think it's purple because
It looks
blue
purple.
I do believe is higher.
Okay. So he can't get the belt, and I mean, he's going to get the belt, and Arnold Schwarzenegger is a salesman. He's like, I'll be there, and of course, as we know, he doesn't show up. Now, this is the point where it could ruin everything for him.
What does Arnold sell?
A lifestyle? I don't know.
No, I was trying to figure that out, and I couldn't put it together, and then it was gone.
Yeah, he's taking a lot of orders though. And he's on the phone taking a lot of orders, and as he's on the phone, tells everybody, "You're my number one customer. You're my number one customer." Can we talk a second about? I know that you love this movie, but can we talk a little bit about the fact that Arnold Schwarzenegger is not a great actor? Can we just talk about that?
Oh, absolutely. We can talk about that. He is not a great actor, but man, he's having fun in this role. I think that's one of the most important things. When somebody realizes that a movie isn't Shakespeare, that it's not high art, that you're not doing some of that Jared Leto method stuff, and you're just out there having fun, and it comes across so authentic that him and Sinbad are having a good time filming the movie together. It's also incredibly unbelievable that anybody is pushing him out of the way for Turbo Man.
Yeah, true. I'm laughing at the chat. Alexandria says Rob is a Riverdale fan. Sure. I mean,
I've heard good things, and same with Sabrina as well. I just
well, I mean, they've come together, and now it's Rivervale.
Riverbrina?
Rivervale. Pay attention, son. Pay attention. Anyway,
I'm sorry.
It's all fine. We're all fine. Yeah. Dylan and Cole Sprouse are Zach and Cody, as they've dropped in the chat as well. So yeah, they actually have real names. It's fine. So the whatever he does for a living, and the fact that he is not a good actor, we've already established we don't know what it is, and we also think he's a bad actor. And you know what? He did Twins. I just think that in this one, he's a leading comedic actor, and I think that's not his forte. I think for him to be like a sidekick for a Danny DeVito worked a little bit better than it does for him to be kind of. And I guess in this one he's kind of sidekick with Sinbad, but not enough of the time to carry it.
He does play a good straight man though. The frustration that you see on his face with Phil Hartman a little bit, and some of the frustration you see with Sinbad, he does okay as a straight man. I actually like a lot of his comedic roles. Kindergarten Cop was one of my favorite movies when I was a kid. I love that. Funny Arnold Schwarzenegger is good because it's better than him taking himself too seriously. I like kind of the parody of himself that he is in the Expendables series. He's not good, but he's fun when he's on screen,
Yeah. You talked about Phil Hartman, the late Phil Hartman, and I love Phil Hartman in anything that he was in. But as the cast is rolling through, and I haven't seen this in so long, I'm remembering all of these people who were in this movie, and the fact that Rita Wilson and Phil Hartman were in this, that's big. I guess this was early on for Rita Wilson, but for Phil Hartman, this was, I think, at the height of his career, probably.
Yeah, and he is terrific in this. The smarmy, two-faced, oily kind of neighbor guy, man. He was like bad Ned Flanders. It was really enjoyable to watch.
Bad Ned Flanders. Okay, all right, I'll go with that. And then Robert Conrad, who was a huge TV
Yeah.
actor, is in this one, and he plays the policeman. Which, again, in reading up on some of the things that kind of the behind the scenes, this role was originally meant to be a woman, and then they cast Robert Conrad in it, and I'm just thinking, I feel like as much as he got beat up in this thing, I don't know.
His physical acting was great. It was really great.
Yeah. So he's on his way. Arnold Howard is on his way to the karate exhibition, and he tries to speed past traffic to make it on time. Gets pulled over. This is the first time we see Robert Conrad, but then we end up seeing him, subsequently through the rest of the thing. Phil Hartman, being the model dad, is already there at the, watching his son. Rita Wilson is there. At this point we've met most of the players, but we still haven't met Sinbad and or Martin Mull. Or Jim Belushi. I feel like all those guys
Yeah.
are major players in this thing. So again, the cast is magnificent. I think that's the big ones, right? Oh, and then Chris Parnell is in this
Chris
one.
Parnell's first film role. Yeah.
Yeah, and then Harvey Korman and Lorraine Newman play the president and the first lady on the planet in the very beginning with Turbo Man. So it's just like a brief thing, but they're there in the Turbo Man segment at the very beginning of the movie.
And one of my favorite character actors from House the film, not House the television show, but from Night Court, Richard Mole plays the Dementor in the little Turbo Man opening.
Did he really? Interesting.
Yeah.
I missed that completely because he had the mustache and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bull from Night Court, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So again, huge cast in this thing. We've established now that he's an awful father because he's missed the karate exhibition. He gets home and he's got to make it up to his son Jamie. And so he goes and he's yelling his name, Jamie, 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 all the way through the house. It hurt a little, buddy. I'm not gonna lie, it hurt a little. Anyway, he goes upstairs and he's running to Jamie's room and he's trying to convince Jamie that he's an all right dad and try to show him that he really cares. And then he basically says, "Hey, what can I do for you that's going to be magical, special?" He goes, it's already covered. I've already asked Santa for the Turbo Man doll." And so now he's like, "Okay, I'll get you the Turbo Man doll because I will, I want you to be happy." And basically he's trying to buy his love back. Maybe that's the salesman in him, I don't know. But when he goes to do that, he makes that promise before he knows anything about it. Next scene we see is him in the, with Rita Wilson going, "Hey," and she's like, "Oh, by the way, speaking of Turbo Man, hey, did you get that 2 weeks ago when I told you to?" And I mean, as a parent, and I just get that feeling in my gut, and I'm going, "Oh, can you imagine that being the thing? You were supposed to do it 2 weeks ago, and it would have been no problem. Now that they're all sold out, you just feel like trash garbage."
And there's no eBay. There's no eBay for him to go and try and buy it off of at that point in time. I mean, if you had a reseller, we get to kind of what resellers are in this a little bit later on, so I'll wait till we get there. But yeah, that's it. Buy it in the store.
Yeah, the other thing that his son Jamie tells him in the room is like, anybody who doesn't get a Turbo Man for Christmas is going to be a loser. Again, no pressure. Not like he hasn't already had the pressure of the world. He's missed the karate thing. He's already messed up. He's been an absent father, and now
This is so stereotypically 90s, right? This is like very much an in the moment movie where the children are kind of materialistic and the parents are overworked. It's very much an image. I mean, even like, I know you're gonna get mad, but even Brink, to an extent, is like this. You see how defined the parents are by their jobs. You see that the kids can be a little materialistic, that sometimes stuff equals love to them. And it was just a very 90s thing. This is a really quintessentially 90s film without being horrifically offensive, which I am impressed.
I don't want to talk to you anymore.
That's not even the point. We did the movie. That actually was a parallel I could draw to it.
All right, fine. Anyway, so the A story is that Arnold Schwarzenegger is it's almost like this road movie of him trying to
Yeah,
get to
yeah.
the end game, which is Turbo Man, and very similar to Planes, Trains, and Automobiles or Due Date or any of these other movies where it's like this unlikely duo together on their journey with Sinbad and Schwarzenegger. But there's a B story, and we mentioned it before about Phil Hartman's character and how he's
It's
basically
super
moving in.
gross.
He's moving
It's
in
super gross. Yeah.
on Howard's territory. He's putting lights on his house. All those like testosterone filled tasks that he's
Yeah.
like the
Yeah.
Christmas brings, where he's like, I'm the guy that puts up the lights. I'm the guy that puts a
Yep.
star on the tree. How dare you be there? And then
Yeah.
whether he means it or not, there's he's making these moves on Rita
Oh no,
Wilson the
he
whole
means
time.
it. They are absolutely meant to be just gross and skin crawly, and Phil Hartman plays it just. Mwah.
He really does. It's horrible. It is very
Oh, it's
scary.
horrible.
Yeah. So let's take a break from all this and talk about the fact this is a 20th Century Fox movie production that has been brought into the Disney family from
Yeah.
the $74 billion purchase that Bob Iger did, Papa Bob did before he left us. And so this,
Good Bob.
yeah. So, but at the time that this was purchased, 20th Century Fox made a bold move here in putting so much
Yeah.
Marvel into
Yeah.
Jamie's room. I mean, there is.
I literally did a double take. I was like, oh my god, there's so much Marvel in here.
Yeah.
And they didn't even have all of those. Because Captain America was with Sony, wasn't he?
I don't think so. I mean, back at this.
I know that they had the X-Men and they had the Fantastic Four.
Yes, they did.
But,
Yeah, I don't
yeah.
think Cap was there, but it
Yeah.
is just kind of crazy that there is so much. And even though there is a
Wouldn't it be great if it was Star Wars though? Would it have been just so good?
even in the background, there's like of this scene, there's a Batman
Yeah,
clock and a Batman. But if you look at his sheets and his
Oh.
pillows, they're all Marvel. I mean, so
Yeah.
obviously the kid's really into comic books and heroes, and I guess that's what they're trying to show here. But another movie that Desi and I reviewed, which was Adventures in Babysitting, that's all about Thor. I mean, the little girl is taken by Thor, and
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of tie-ins there as well. Again, a 20th Century Fox movie that Disney
Yeah.
purchased. So I don't know, man. I feel like this must have cost them a lot of money, but maybe back in the 90s, nobody really cared to license stuff, and you could just put in anything you
I
want.
think you could have just put it in. I think at that point in time, Marvel was probably happy to get any exposure. I mean, that's how they wound up selling bits and pieces of their movie rights off for pennies on the dollar.
I also want to know how much work went into this to make this happen. It's 1996 when this movie comes out, and Arnold has an Atlanta 1996 Olympics
Wow.
T-shirt on when he's in the bedroom.
Wow.
Like, that's.
I didn't even notice that.
Oh, you didn't? Oh, okay. I was just
No.
like, the
It was a
timing
good
of it
grab.
had to have been perfect for that. So.
Yeah.
Speaking of a good grab, first of all, I want to say thanks to everybody who's watching. I know we're getting close to the holidays, so appreciate you guys spending your time with us. Secondly, if you could give us a thumbs up or subscribe to the channel, either one. Prefer both if you can. That would be great. We're going to have a lot of stuff in 2022 that we'd love for you to come back and see. So if you can, that would be great. But I'm going to go ahead and ask you at this point, speaking of things you notice, a few trivia questions, my friend.
All right.
You ready?
I'm not gonna do so well. I'm feeling a little off.
This is your movie!
I know. But
You
I don't
picked
know
this
how-
one. You
how
love
well
this
I
one.
Paid attention to detail on this.
I don't know. I feel like I kind of tore Desi up a little bit on Brink, but it's fine. It's fine. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
We're going to make it really easy here for you.
All right.
First of all, what city is this that they're in?
Realistically, or what they're supposed to be in?
What city are they supposed to be in?
I think they're supposed to be, and realistically, they're in Minneapolis, right?
Correct. Yep,
Yeah.
because they have Mall of America. The parade has the Twin Cities. Yeah, so they're supposed to be
But
in
the
Minneapolis.
parade is actually shot on Universal Studios Hollywood on their New York Street.
There you go. And took like, what, 3 weeks to film or something like the ridiculous like that?
They had a lot of delays in filming this. They said like getting shots of the Mall of America was crazy. I mean, Arnold was at the height of popularity at that point in time, so I imagine people were swarming.
Second question, because you and I share a history of radio, my friend. So there's a radio station
Oh,
featured in this. Can you tell me either the frequency or the call letters of the radio station?
I I can see the flag, and it's KNBL.
Which doesn't make sense because I feel like, well, does it? No, it does make
Well,
sense. Never mind. No, because KFan is
I don't.
actually, yeah, KFan is in Minneapolis. So
So
yeah,
what is it?
KQRS
Oh,
92 is the frequency. So, but Martin Mull is does a great job of the
yeah.
the cheesy DJ and getting them on semantics. By the time that Sinbad and Howard have met, and they've kind of gone through the battles of going through all these toy stores, which, by the way, like they show this montage of him going to all these toy stores. I'm like, man, I've never lived in a time where there are this many toy stores around. It was Toys R Us, KB Toys, K&K
And then a
Toys,
couple mom and pop. Yeah.
and that was it. But he like they show all this like kind of
Yeah.
again montage of all these
Well,
toy stores he's going to.
in the height of like when I was in my toy buying, we had a Child World and a Toys R Us across the street from each other. We had multiple KBs. We had like one in the mall and one around. So I mean, Minneapolis is a big city. I don't live in a big city, so I mean that's not unreasonable.
Yeah. So, but when he's going to all these toy stores, he keeps running into to Sinbad, and his character is a mailman, and in this. They just keep running into each other over and over again, and eventually they're in the diner where they have the big talk about how his old man messed him up. And while they're sitting in the diner, there's you know a radio playing, and Martin Mull's character is saying, "Hey, we're gonna have this holiday contest. If you can name all 8 of Santa's reindeer, then you could win the biggest toy of the year, Turbo Man." And so he's getting them on a technicality, though, when they finally get there, that he's got a gift
Do you
certificate
think
for it.
this is based on like the very famous radio stunt that got a station in a lot of trouble?
The
Where they did
Toyota?
the Toyota, yeah. I'm wondering if that was the inspiration for this. Which, if you don't know that story, they did a touch a truck to win a new Toyota, and they only pronounced Toyota. They never wrote Toyota like the car, and they gave people a Yoda doll. And that station was sued for a lot of money because people like suffered physical harm from that.
Yeah. No, it was bad.
Yeah.
Very well could have been. What was the name of the
Yeah.
diner?
And I was hoping you were going to ask me about the toy that Sinbad wanted. I'm like, oh, I actually looked that up. I read about it, and I have no idea. I want to say it's like flows or dots. It reminded me of the diner from Mighty Ducks, which I know was filmed in Minneapolis as well. So I was wondering if it was the same place.
Flows or dots?
Yeah.
No,
No.
no. Um, let me pull this up for you
Oh, it's
because
going to pain me when I see it.
I mean, kind of.
Yeah, because it's going to be right there. I was very tired rewatching it. I wanted to rewatch it again. I said that to you today. I said I only got to rewatch it once. I like to watch it for entertainment and then kind of really pay attention to what's going on. And I was just watching it for entertainment and laughing and giggling.
Yeah. It's painful because it's just like this brief second where they show it. They
Yeah,
talk about it a couple times later, but are you ready?
I'm ready. Mickey's. Yep.
Mickey's. Come on, man. How could you not have gotten that? Woo! Mickey's Diner. Come
I
on.
did. I did name something that had a Disney Parks connection, so I was close.
Okay. There you go.
Yep.
You were exactly the same. Um, 2 more. You ready?
All right. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
What is the name of the parade?
The it's the wintertainment parade.
The
Yeah.
Wintertainment Parade. Yes.
What a dumb name.
Is that why it stuck with you so much? Because you were like, "This is
Yeah. This
ridiculous."
is horrible. And then when I see them with the logo, I'm like, some poor grip or whatever they do had to like spray paint that long, ridiculous word, wintertainment.
So, final question: Fox 26 are they the hosts of this, which I thought was
Yeah.
interesting because Fox is doing this.
Yeah.
Fox 26 is the host of this. They have they have two commentators basically telling the story of the Wintertainment Parade. The male's name. What is his name?
Yeah, no, it's something funny.
It is.
Remember, it
It
being
is.
funny. And he was he weather or sports?
His weather.
He's weather. That's what I thought. Is it a weather-based name?
Oh, absolutely.
Is
Absolutely.
it like Gale Force?
Did you look it up?
No, it came from within.
It was Gale Force. Yes, it was Gale Force. He's like, I'm the Twin Cities #1 weatherman, Gale Force.
I should have been like Patrick Breaks when I did traffic. It's just terrible.
Yeah.
Red light, Ugh.
So just a random thought. While this movie's going on, and Sinbad is there and keeps showing up all the time, he is supposed to be out, I think, delivering mail. No.
Yes, he is absolutely supposed to be out delivering mail. There's the one scene where he's running and he is just throwing mail out of his satchel, and I was dying. It was so good.
I mean, he's supposed to be delivering mail. He's got his mail bag. He's got his mail outfit on. But here's the other problem I have is why in 1996, if you can use all of this superhero IP, can you not use the U.S. Postal Service logo?
Oh, wow. I don't know. That's a really good point. I did not notice that.
Oh, man, that drove me nuts. I'm like, generic mail? Like, why can't you do that?
I don't know. It might be some of the same reason why, like, police uniforms and military uniforms are always slightly off in films.
By the way, he's drinking while he's doing all this, too. The bottle that he's got here is Old Homestead. I don't know anything about alcohol. Is that a real thing, or is that something that's made up?
It very well could be. It sounds like it could be like a whiskey of some sort.
Okay.
I know. I used to drink Old Grandad in college, which I do not recommend.
I mean, while he's telling the story of how again not getting the toy had messed him up as a little kid, Arnold Schwarzenegger starts having this dream sequence of his son Jamie, turning out to be a postman as well, and here he is drinking this. I don't think being a postman's a bad thing. I don't understand what the deal is here with that, but he's like,
I thought about it numerous times in my life. It's not a bad paying job. I mean, you get a lot of holidays off. The whole rain, sleet, snow thing, not so much here in New England. I would be happy.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a fun job. People love you.
Yeah, but the drinking, the bottle of whatever, that was kind of funny. So
in the mailroom in Elf, they also drink.
Whoop, there it is. So here's the radio station. Is this accurate? You worked in a radio station.
Oh, absolutely, this is accurate. He has a cart in his hand right now, a wall full of carts. So you think it's an 8-track, but it's not an 8-track. It's called a cart, and it's like some sort of cassette and 8-track hybrid. The sound quality was actually really good, except for like the clicks that would occasionally happen at the beginning and end of songs, and you really just popped it in and played. It was great. It was a lot easier than when we went to CDs, and I am very old.
I love the transmitter map that is posted in the window to show how far the radio station can reach.
You know what that phone right there is? That's the bat phone. If that phone ever rings, you're in some trouble.
It's the hotline.
I had that number for the local radio station, and I would call on occasion if I was driving and I noticed traffic. But this one jock who wasn't particularly used to that, I called, and I could hear the fear in his voice. I'm like, no, it's just Patrick from traffic. I just want to tell you there's an accident. You could report it just so you let people know. He's like, oh, my God, don't call this number. I was like, if I call the request line, you're not going to hear me.
Yeah, Desi, come on. You got to bring people back in. She's apparently started them on a Star Wars conversation while we're talking about Jingle All the Way in the chat. It's fine. It's all fine. Star Wars better than Jingle All the Way, says Leaf. Ah, man, I don't know.
I mean, I could find several Star Wars films that Jingle All the Way is better than. I'll start with 1, 2, and 3. And
wait, also with Jake Lloyd. How about that? So also, Tony Stank says, "Remember House Guest, underrated." I agree. House Guest was a great movie, and that was Phil Hartman and Sinbad. Yeah.
Yes, I believe.
Well, I'm gonna have to look it up, but I mean, I remember House Guest being an amazingly funny movie. So yeah,
I think Sinbad doesn't get enough credit for how funny he is. I think he's kind of looked at like as quote unquote corny, but man, the dude was talented. He's really funny. He's a really funny guy. He's actually a pretty decent actor. He had, I do believe he was on Different World back in the day. Did a little bit of different stuff there, but very very funny. His stand up was really good too. And he Sinbad and Phil Hartman.
Yeah, and he was found on the what was the Ed McMahon one? Star Search.
Was he really?
Mm-hmm.
You just hit me with some knowledge.
Yeah, but yeah, Sinbad, Phil Hartman. You're right. I mean, man, I knew it. Look at us. Who'd have thought?
Figuring it out.
So anyway, so they get to the radio station where they think there's going to be a Turbo Man doll. There's not. There's a gift certificate, which is like this huge gift certificate. And as they're leaving, Schwarzenegger actually puts it in his pocket. I mean, I thought that was interesting. Like, he had come all that way. He was going to at least get that.
Absolutely.
What was his game plan there? Was he going to give it to Jamie for Christmas?
I mean, that has happened to me before. I've been like given like a nice like certificate for a present when the present wasn't there at the time. So maybe.
The DJ, who is labeled in the credits as DJ, by the way, calls the police. The police come, and of course Robert Conrad's in the group again. Sinbad pulls out a package and pretends like it's a bomb, which he's done now twice in the movie. And
this is the first time, isn't it?
No, this is the second time, because this one actually goes off.
The second time, the second time. So the first time is in the DJ booth. The second time's in the lobby of the radio when the police get there. Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, the first time is in the DJ booth. You're right. And then the second time I was thinking of when Robert Conrad gets there. Yeah. But just to give you a glimpse of it, here's the KQRS in the background, 92.
Yeah.
And there's Robert Conrad coming up, and there's the gift certificate. He's got it in his hand. So, so after this one, we are more than halfway through this movie at this point, and he's still, no closer. Every time he gets close, Sinbad messes it up for him, which just makes you angry, because you're like, can't one of them get this? I mean, it's just not fair.
I wanted both of them to get it at the end.
Oh, absolutely.
That's what I really wanted. That's what I wanted. I wanted Sinbad to get some redemption. I felt like he deserved a redemption arc.
I mean, he sort of gets that, right? Because he actually ends up...
It's like the Grinch heart grew 3 sizes that day kind of treatment.
Yeah. So after all of this has happened and they leave, you find out that, like, Schwarzenegger's car has been stripped for parts. So, I mean, it's just like, it could not get any worse. He's not spending any time with his family, which I feel bad about. Again, just having been a parent and how
much that never resonated with me until I was a parent. And I'm like, oh my God, this poor guy just wants to get home.
Yep.
You start off, you're like, I should have got the toy for his kid. But you're like, okay, so he forgot. But man, he just wants to get there. He wants to do the right thing. And it's just, it's so frustrating.
Okay, so let's just settle this once and for all. Yeah. The order of the trilogies for Star Wars goes the original 3, 4, 5, and 6, then 7, 8, 9, then 1, 2, and 3, right? I mean, as far as watchability, quality.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Okay.
There has never been a time that I have ever wanted to pick up one of the prequel trilogy and be like, I should revisit this. If I do, I'll just go look at the fight scene with Duel of the Fates on YouTube or something. I don't need to watch the whole movie for that.
Cool.
All right, back to Bring It On. Wish that was on.
I wish that was too. I would totally do that. I'm a huge Bring It On fan. No, Jingle all the way. Again, if you're watching, you haven't already, give us a thumbs up and also subscribe to the channel. We appreciate it. So when we go in to the whole thing, he has to be towed home. And now he's going home, and he's like, "Oh man, here I am, and I'm I haven't been with my kid. I don't have the toy, and now my car. The car, good lord, how much money would that have been? That
was like a high end. Was it like a GMC or something like that? It was like It was definitely supposed to be a status symbol, him driving that car.
He's almost been, I mean, he's almost been arrested two, three times at this point. And also
Yep.
there was a bomb. There was also, I mean, just a lot of problems. So he gets home, and then he sees Phil Hartman with his wife, because Phil Hartman, every time he calls the house, either he gets Jamie, but there was the one time when he calls the house and he's like, "Hey,
Put the cookies down."
yeah, put my wife on the phone." He's like, "Oh, your wife's cookies. Oh, your wife's cookies are so good." And it's just like, you're like, "Oh man."
Put that cookie down.
So he's taking his cookies. He's hanging out with his wife. He's putting his lights up for him, and so this is where it breaks for him, is that Phil Hartman is putting the star on the top of the tree.
Oh.
And
Oh,
you
that was
don't
so
do that.
bad.
You don't do that.
Man, I will go on to rally against toxic masculinity because it's a terrible thing, but it still hits you to the core. I was like, dude, that's so not right. That is such a violation.
I mean, here it is. Like, here's the moment. I mean, you can just feel that, right?
Can we talk about how this movie has way too good a cinematography for the quality of film it is?
Sure.
It's shot incredibly well. There's some great stunt sequences. It looks way better than it deserves to look. I was really taken aback by how quality it looked for a 1996 movie. It's just really well shot. Yeah, look at the framing on that. It's such a great two-shot. It's just really well done. And if you notice the space between Rita Wilson and Phil Hartman, I have no idea what their character names are. All I know is Howard and Myron. But even that is meant to show something. And when you flip it to the other side and get the other side of the two-shot, it actually shows a lot more distance between the two, and it's not as close. Man, I could talk about, like, film as art and like, film theory and all that for hours. This movie is much better than it should be, because this is a rush it out for the holidays, some stars in it, make some money movie, and it holds up, and it's really pretty. Like, I love pretty films.
Well,
Requiem for a Dream, like, missed me with all that drama, but it's really a great looking movie.
here's my Arnold. This is my Arnold right here. This glint in his eye, the way he's like, "Oh man, this is when the tide has turned." Now he's like, Phil, you done go too far, man. Now he's like, he's putting the star on top of the tree. That's the line right there. Never mind his messing with his wife's cookies. This is the one that has got him, and he snaps, and he remembers that Phil Hartman's character has said, "Oh, hey, you don't have a Turbo Man? Mine has been safely under the tree for weeks," and so he decides now to go break and enter on top of everything else that he's been doing.
Okay, I have a problem. So these
Just
kids
one?
are still
Just one?
a big problem with this.
Okay, all right.
These kids are pretty young, and I feel like the magic of Santa Claus is still there. And having that wrapped in under the tree, it's clearly that the gift is from his dad. All right, Santa doesn't bring that one. Santa will bring some other ones. But, like, you know what that is. You know the shape of the box. You can look at it every day. He's, like, psychologically torturing his son by having what's very obviously Turbo Man right there under the tree. It's wrapped in Turboman paper. Turboman. as if he's a Brooklyn
Spider-Man.
lawyer. So I was just like,
Yeah.
It really bothered me. And then we get to the over-the-top Christmas display, which I think it's hysterical that it keeps getting more and more over the top. And the amazing scenes with the reindeer.
Yeah. Well, so he gets to the point where he's like, he's decided maybe this was the wrong move. Then the reindeer runs into the house and then causes this commotion, which knocks the head of one of the wise men into the fireplace. Yeah, into the fireplace, which then he kicks out through the window. And now it's just ridiculous. Now it's just a ridiculous comedy. So there are all these things that happen that remind me of a Ben Stiller movie, where it's just like bad things keep happening over and over again, and it raises my anxiety level, because I put myself in the character's shoes and go, "Oh Lord, like I would hate being like this." When there was a TV show that preceded me, it was called The Brady Bunch. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. You're a young guy. I just read about it in history books. But there, like, anytime that like Bobby put too much suds in the washing machine, and I just thought, when the thing starts overflowing, oh my gosh, I'm in trouble. Like, I'm in trouble. So like I feel this for him and go on this journey with him. And like you said, this is not a high quality movie, and the acting is not great. So I think it's the story writing that is actually
Yeah.
putting us into
And
that
it's the
space.
pacing of the movie too. When I turned it on, and it was a brisk 90 minutes. Man, give me that in a movie. We need more 90-minute comedies. I don't need to waste 2 hours on a slapstick movie. Just get me the funny and get out.
Yeah. Well, by this point, um, we have, Rita Wilson has seen what he's been up to the whole time now about being absent, not getting the Turbo Man, and now stealing from the neighbor. So she gets in the car with Phil Hartman, which we all know is a bad idea, but she doesn't know that at this point. And the kids, and they decide to go to the parade, and Howard has to stay home and realize like the error of his ways and all the things bad that he's done. So he sits
Was he
down.
drinking like an old style? Is that what he was
He
drinking?
sits down and he pours beer into this bowl for the reindeer. So I mean, this is a Christmas movie right here, folks. This is the this is Christmas. It's a guy drinking with a reindeer while his wife goes to the parade with her stalker and their kids.
Speaking of the kid, the Phil Hartman son is really funny. His delivery on everything is so spot on. It
The
just
part
cracks me up.
the part where he's like, "Man, my dad got really cool after the divorce. You should get your parents divorced too. It's
Yeah,
great."
it's so good.
Here's that parade scene we were talking about earlier with the
Yeah.
yeah, that this is really well shot. Like this
Yes, it is.
you really buy that this is like a big city thing and not
Yeah,
not a backlot. I mean, it's really well done.
yeah. Very well done.
How about
By
that
the way,
wintertainment?
Wintertainment.
Yeah.
That sounds like something they would come up with at WDI nowadays. That's the next hard ticket event.
So when we get to the wintertainment parade, now the kids are there. Howard has looked at a picture in his kids' clubhouse and decided that man, he's going to be the father he was supposed to be, and he's going to go to that parade. So he heads off to the parade. Meanwhile, mom and the kids are there already, and we see all these characters coming down the road. Man, did I don't know this man? This really blew me away. How many IP
Oh
there
my
are
god.
in this
It
picture?
was insane.
So you got Sesame Street, and you got Ninja Turtles, and you got Raggedy Ann and Andy, and you got the Cat in the Hat, and the Tick, and Paddington, and I think that maybe Madeline was in there, and like some Crayolas, like not even off-brown crayons.
And not even no, those are the actual Crayolas. Those two, I was just at the Crayola factory. Those two are the crayons that host the tour for how to make a crayon. And Rock'em Sock'em Robots, and like this is insane. So at that point in time, Turtles might have been in Disney at that point in time, '96. But it's
Could have
not
been.
even. It's not even like all Universal or all Fox. It is just a mismatch amalgamation of costumes they had lying around.
Well, and then there's the moment where he says, like, oh, maybe, we got to wait for Turbo Man. And then Jamie goes, nah, they're going to save him for the end because he's the best. And like all these guys are garbage. They're going to save Turbo Man for the end.
Yeah.
But here's another
Turbo Man's the closer.
here's another shot with Gumby and
Lego. And the
Lego
Etch-a-Sketch,
and Hello Kitty, and you've got Sonic, and then behind Sonic, Cabbage
doll.
Patch. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a party, man. This is a lot of IP all in one place. That blew me away. I was like, what
Does
are we
Disney
even?
own all of those IPs now, or just some of them?
Just some of them. They don't own all of them. Yeah, and so then for some reason, because they want the kids to see the parade, they drop the kids off and let them just go into the huge crowd.
No. They saw somebody. I did follow that because that would have given me anxiety as well. They're like, they saw one of their other friends. He's right up front. Will you go see him? Yeah, we'll park the car. I was like, all right, that's okay. You're going with friends.
Yeah. Well, and here's another sort of framing is like so they go to park the car, and this is when Phil Hartman makes his move. Now, I keep calling him Phil Hartman. I know his name, but I wasn't going to say it because the one other trivia question I had for you was what was the name of the reindeer?
Ted,
And you know why?
because it's named after Phil Hartman's character. I'm also staring at the IMDb.
You stink. Anyway, here's Arnold running toward the car. Just happens to be running toward the car that they've taken somewhere else to park, and then you can see him making moves on Rita Wilson's character. So
really great shot, like picking Arnold out from the crowd. Ah, man, I got a big credit to the cinematographer. Well shot, and Brian Levant is a good director. You know, he's done some good stuff. He did the first Flintstone movie. He did The Spy Next Door, which is a fun little movie. This is his genre. It's like these fun, dumb little like action comedies.
our good friend Pete Carney is in the chat saying, "Are you sure this isn't a cavalcade?" That's quality, man. That you should put that in your tight five when you go to do comedy next time, because that's good stuff. I mean it wholeheartedly, my friend. So they're in the car. He's making his move. He's finally showing his colors, and then she throws eggnog on him, gets out of the car. But at this point, Arnold has run off because he's being chased by the police, because Robert Conrad has showed up again. His hands are all burned because of the bomb that went off. Poor guy. So he's chasing him down the street. He gets locked into this dark place. Like he bangs on a door and the guy brings him in. It's like, oh, hey, we've been waiting for you. Brings him in. It's dark inside. We kind of see like a POV from Howard's character at this point. And they basically put a Turbo Man costume on him, and now he's Turbo Man just like that.
Yep. We skipped over the whole Santa situation, and I wanted to touch on that.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Where we kind of see those Disney resellers right there hustling some faulty product, and a great fun fight scene with the Big Show from WWE, who is now going on his own name, Paul White. And of course, John Belushi. Jim, sorry.
Yep.
I always get them confused. And Vern Troyer in an uncredited role.
Oh, it's the little dude that gets punched?
Punched, yep. And then the other elf was also in Seinfeld. He was really funny in Seinfeld, so he's a great actor. And it's just, I enjoyed that there was still resale even before there was eBay and things like that. By the way, the cinematographer is Victor J. Kemper, who did Clue, the original Vacation, and Justice for All, Dog Day Afternoon. He also did Bring It On, All or Nothing, and American Pie Presents Bandcamp. So not all complete art, but a really good person, good at their craft.
Yep. So let me say this though, as we're getting near the end of this, and say that I feel like when he becomes Turbo Man and then gives all these things to Jamie at this point, like the experience and the the secret that he's Turbo Man, all that stuff, that was all accidental. He didn't know what he was doing when that happened, and so part of me is like, this is undeserved. Like he is. That's great. He is accidentally seen as the hero at the end of this, and I want to be upset about the fact that this wasn't he didn't learn anything in this moment. That he just happened into it. However, he's had so many accidents on the other side that didn't go his way that he almost deserves this.
It's a little reverse of the karma.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So
the fight scene is a lot of fun. It's just great. And Sinbad going to the ends of the earth to try and get the Turbo Man. You see the desire and that he really wants it. A great little cameo by Booger. Richard Curtis, is that his name?
As Boomer,
with the one truly awful joke the one truly awful joke that is put out from most cuts now. I was surprised to see it in Disney Plus. When he was waiting for Turbo Man, he said he was sweating like a dog in a Chinese restaurant. And I was like, movie. You made it so long without making me cringe. But there it is.
Yeah, Booster. Nobody likes Booster. What? And
then when they start beating him up, I was cracking up.
But also, he seems to know, Turbo Man's, salute here with the two fingers. I feel like that's a legit Turbo Man thing. So, I mean, he wasn't really trained on that, was he? Why did he know that?
Maybe he saw it enough times.
Also, why would he not? Why would people not know this is him? He's got a horrible accent. Like, I mean, not horrible. It's a
They
very
did try and explain it away. They did say that there's a
the
vocoder on that'll change. Yeah.
yeah, but I mean,
we as the audience heard it as Arnold.
and he comes right up to him. He comes like Jamie comes right up to him because
He only has like a half a face shield on too. It's not even like a full mask. You know, it's all Arnold under there.
yeah. I mean, yeah, that's
That jawline is unmistakable.
yeah, that's totally ridiculous that he wouldn't see until he took off the helmet that was actually his dad. Especially it's his dad. Although maybe that's part of the whole abandonment thing that he really hasn't been a good father for him for so long. But part of the weird thing that has happened here is that there's a Turbo Man special edition that he gets to give away to one lucky kid, and that is he picks obviously. Jamie out of the lineup. Here's a problem that I have, Patrick.
Sure.
I think that, and maybe it's because it's a limited edition, but this Turbo Man doll is not in proportion with the rest of the
ones.
Yeah.
No, at all. And that's what I thought. I'm like, I guess it's a special edition. It's like a giant size pop.
Yeah. So he's holding on to it, but it's clearly larger than that box that he was holding on to. So
why does Booster have a gold like Speedo on? I have not noticed that until now. That is uncomfortable. Why does that saber-tooth furry thing need underwear?
Why does Booster have a T tattooed on his chest? Is it because he's owned by Turbo Man?
Oh God, yeah, maybe.
There's a lot of deep dive we need to do in just the story of Turbo Man. So
I'm shocked Turbo Man hasn't become like a cartoon.
But there were toys, I mean, that they released.
Toys. My buddy has one.
Oh, really? One of the original Turbo Men?
Yeah, shout out to my buddy Ryan. He works over at WB. He has one of those. He takes a picture with it every year.
But again, here, like on this pop, you can see him holding the Turbo Man. It's great. Anyway, so
this one's all right. I mean, it's the reason for the season. I got Christmas Mickey.
Okay, yeah, no, that's exactly. If you feel comfortable with that being equal to the one I've got, then that's great. Good for you, man. Good for you. So anyway, he gives the toy to Jamie, and then for some strange reason, Sinbad is now dressed up as Dementor to finish this whole thing like Battle Royale style. Like, that didn't have to happen. He didn't have to dress up like that to make this happen, did he?
It definitely did have to happen. No, it had to happen. It felt so necessary that this was the finale.
Okay. And so he basically puts Jamie's life in peril. Jamie climbs up to the top of a building.
Very dangerous, yes.
And then very quickly, here's the other thing, is everybody's yelling at Turbo Man, going, Turbo Man, use your this! Turbo Man, use your that! Turbo Man, use your power to fly! And, like, no one ever yells at Superman and goes, hey, Superman, use your heat ray vision. It's like, oh, yes, thank you, citizen. I appreciate you doing that. So I was like, that was a little cringy to me, like, that whole thing. No?
Well, they needed to tell him how to Turbo Man. I think it was important that Arnold learned those lessons, that he knew how to properly Turbo Man.
But I love that at least that they tried to set it up in the beginning to say why, like, that this is actually real, and that they've gone to all this trouble to make Turbo Man have the actual gadgets and gizmos aplenty, so that he can actually be Turbo Man. And then them saying like, oh yeah, the other guy, he's probably going to come out of that. Yeah, he'll probably be fine.
Oh man, I was, again, another part that had me cracking up.
So he, in as they're dragging Sinbad away, Jamie comes up very much like this Mean Joe Green in the Coke and says, "Here, Turbo Man. I mean, here, you can have my Turbo Man doll for your son." And he's like, but Jamie, like, I ruined my car. I lived through a bomb. I almost got arrested a bunch of times. I flew through the city. All of this just to get this doll for you. And he's like, yeah, but I got the real Turbo Man because you're my dad and you're Turbo Man. So, boy, howdy, is he going to be disappointed when he finds out that this isn't a long-term thing?
Yeah, he has to give the suit back.
Yeah. But then, everything's great, and he goes and Jamie's happy, and Arnold's happy, and Arnold goes on to be governor, and
No. No, no, no.
And he rides away.
It does look like a campaign photo.
Yeah, he rides away into the sunset. The end. So, yeah. So all of that said, there's one last thing to be said about this movie is that there's a post-credit scene.
There is a post-credit scene.
Talk about the post-credit scene.
No, it sets up the whole Turbo Man cinematic universe, and so you're going to see the Booster TV show.
No. That's not at all.
It's a funny little tag that they tried to set up a sequel with when Rita Wilson goes, "So, what did you get me?" And you get the shocked Arnold face, and cut.
Yeah. So she's like, I just want to ask you, you went through all this stuff. You went through all this stuff for Jamie and this toy, so I mean, obviously you got me something pretty nice. And then it pans in on his face. He's like, "What?" and then it's almost like Howard will return in Jingle All the Way 2. Now here's a fun thing is there was a Jingle All the Way 2, and it wasn't Arnold Schwarzenegger. As a matter of fact, it was Larry the Cable Guy.
Yeah.
I don't have to show it. It's fine. We all know that it exists. But it's not the sequel that we thought we were going to get, right? I mean, it's a little bit different.
So this did poorly at the box office, and it was one of those movies that found a home with streaming and not streaming. Jeez, with
tell me all about streaming.
Yeah, with rentals and home video purchases. It became kind of like a cult favorite like that. I love it. It is every year, maybe multiple times a year, because it just cracks me up. Because sometimes the holidays can be hard and you need a little just dumb laughter.
Are you saying you need a little Christmas right this very minute?
No, I'm good. I'm good right now. At that very minute, I did need some Christmas, which is why I watched it for laughs and not for paying attention. I needed another watch to make sure I was ready for trivia.
Gotcha. All right, so then, so Jingle All the Way 2 is not what we thought it was going to be. But I agree with you that Turbo Man should have his own universe, and there should be a rebirth now that Disney owns this. There should be a Disney Plus show, for Turbo Man. I think that could be their Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. It could happen.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh. I think so. The Rocketeer TV show, I'm even more intrigued by now because I found out. Oh my God, I forgot his name, but he used to play for the Carolina Panthers and the Jets, who's been a huge Walt Disney fan his whole life and a huge Rocketeer fan, and he is actually running the production company that will be doing the Rocketeer TV show. So I'm very, very excited.
This is the animated one, right? The Disney Junior one?
I don't know if the Disney Junior one. It might be another one.
Okay. All right. So, anything else we need to talk about before we wrap this up, my friend? And again, this is our final show of the year, so I mean, this has got to be a good wrap up. This is it. Yeah. This is the final, not just the final Deep in the Plus, but this is the final one on the network, the live show for the rest of the year. So, man, I don't want to put too much pressure on you, but anything else before we do your wrap up?
Yeah, we need people to tell us what they think would make interesting Deep in the Plus episodes. We want people to come and watch. Please tell your friends, tell your enemies. Don't tell my enemies. I don't want them knowing where I am. But we need people to come to Unplanned Downtime. We need to keep this thing going. We need people to look, like, subscribe, watch, comment, get people involved. We do really well when things are on the mothership, on the WWNT main, but we need people coming here to Unplanned Downtime. So tell everyone and tell us what movies you want to see us do. We thought the episodes would be bigger. It didn't really take off like we thought it was going to. Let us know what you want us to do. Do you want it the one-on-one? Do you want more panels? We're here. We're open to constructive criticism.
Well, and I think we'll probably do a lot of more current things too, because I think a lot of people are watching current stuff. So I think Encanto will be one of those that we do very soon out of the gate.
Very interested in that. Very interested in that.
Yeah,
one.
And it lands on Disney Plus on the 24th. So it's their Christmas present to you.
There was something else the 24th, right? The Eternals is.
No, that's January. Book of Boba Fett is coming out, but it's Book of Boba Fett's coming out. Hawkeye's wrapping up today. No, is it today? Tomorrow.
It'll be out at 3 a.m. and I'm tempted to stay awake for it.
Yeah.
I'm finally going to see Spider-Man tomorrow.
Oh my gosh, you haven't seen it yet? Let me just tell you everything about it.
I will cry so many tears.
Yeah, no, it was great. But anyway,
Yeah.
I thank you for saying all that. We definitely want to bring you guys more of what you're looking for in 2022. I will say also, don't forget to watch. Patrick and I did Park Center a year
Yeah.
end review. So if you
Please.
haven't watched that yet, please go and watch that. That is on the main channel, WDWNT, and we just kind of went through the 25 top stories of 2021 and kind of recapped the year. So hopefully you guys will get a chance to enjoy that over this holiday if you haven't seen it already. So Patrick, then we've
Yeah.
talked about this movie. You love this movie,
I do.
but Patrick Hackett,
Hmm.
my friend, would you recommend this movie?
Get to the chopper to see Jingle All the Way. My Arnold's not great, but man, go see this movie. Sometimes the holiday films could be too saccharine. Sometimes they can hit you with too many emotions when you just want to be dumb and laugh. Go watch Jingle All the Way. Do yourself a favor, turn your brain off, and enjoy some slapstick that's actually really well shot by a talented cinematographer, well directed, not well acted except for maybe Phil Hartman and Sinbad, but everybody's having fun. It seems like it was a good time to make this movie, and it shows in the final product.
I got to tell you, I'm not sure I would recommend this movie, and here's why. And I know, hold on. I think that again, the acting is very cheesy. I agree with you that it did make me feel things, so I feel like there is something to the story. It is very much, I think, a '90s movie, and even though it's 1996, it feels like very embedded in the '90s. And so I think if you enjoy that kind of content, this is a good movie for you. But because it's 20th Century Fox, and because it doesn't really have any ties to the park, which I know a lot of us enjoy that, I don't think it's required watching. But if you've watched all the other holiday movies, and see, I love rewatching movies, so you really have to be a good, strong holiday movie for me to throw you into the lineup, because there are a lot of things like Prep and Landing that I watch every single year, Elf that I watch every single year, so it's really got to be something strong for me to add it to my lineup, and since this wasn't in the lineup for me, it wouldn't be one that I would go, oh, don't forget to watch Jingle All the Way. But then again, there was a lot of weird things in my lineup. Invader Zim Christmas Special is one that I watch
Really?
every single year. Yeah, it's so weird and
Do
out
you
there.
watch all the Prep and Landings?
Oh, absolutely. But there are
Yeah,
two Prep and
definitely.
Landings, and then the
And then
shorts.
Secret Santa.
Well, and then there's also the one about Tiny, right? Is that his name?
Oh, I have not seen that one yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there are several of them, and I love all of that content. I love that world. I hope that they come up with some more of
I
them.
love that world too. Great voice actors doing their job there too.
Yeah.
I don't have a ton in my rotation. It's Emmett Otter, it's Elf, White Christmas, and the Prep and Landing, and this. But this I don't like. It isn't an ordeal to watch. This I'll put on like Shayna goes to bed a little bit earlier than me, so sometimes I'll put this on if she's going to sleep. But the big ones are Elf, White Christmas, and Emmett Otter.
Well, and there is a ton of stuff, and we've done a ton of reviews too of all the stuff on Disney Plus, and they list under holidays. They've got Hawkeye listed.
Well, I mean, Kevin Feige said that he wants people to go back to season 1, if it's just season 1 or the series of Hawkeye, and treat it like one of their Christmas stories.
Yeah, I love the holiday episodes. I think that's a neat thing to have on here because holiday episodes are fun.
Really neat thing.
If you go down here a little bit, you can see that there are holiday episodes for Spider-Man and for the Avengers and for Guardians. So that's kind of fun.
Yep.
Phineas and Ferb. Winter favorites. So these are things that are winter and not necessarily Christmas. And then Home Alone 4 and 5 got added to this list. So
Wow.
yeah. So
Wow.
this is all of them right now.
Is that Russell Brand who's in the Holiday Heist?
No, that is not Russell Brand.
No.
I don't think so.
Oh.
But when you go back up here, like Mickey's Christmas Carol, that's a good one to watch. I rewatch Nightmare Before Christmas. I watch that every year, Halloween into Christmas. We reviewed Beauty and the Beast, The Enchanted Christmas. This Christmas Carol with Jim Carrey is a little
do not
creepy.
like that. Yeah.
These are great.
Those are great.
Mickey's. We're gonna have to do those next year. Is do those, and then like even some of this stuff, like the third party
Get it
stuff
out.
is
Get it out.
Noel.
I do like
Noelle
Noelle.
was
I thought
good.
Noelle was going to make it into the rotation, but the decision to watch it wasn't. Why is Jonathan Taylor Thomas making a thirst trap here? What is going on?
Have you never seen I'll Be Home for Christmas?
I have not. JTT like posting on the gram, looking to get a date.
Dawn says Die Hard. I originally had Die Hard on the list to watch this year on Deep in the Plus, and then it occurred to me that's not going to be on Disney Plus. It's just not. They're not going to do it. They own it, but it's not going to be on Disney Plus. So maybe
I've never seen it.
Desi has joked about it in the past too. We do like an outside the bubble kind of a thing where we talk about things that are not, but I mean, not on Disney Plus.
Shallow in the minus.
I mean, maybe we could like bleed into Hulu a little bit since it's still part of the company, but Disney Plus is where we're spending most of our time, and there are a lot of.
Die Hard has reached the Wire territory for me, and like Breaking Bad, where never will it ever lead up to the amount people talk about it. So I'm just not gonna partake in that media.
Have you never watched Die Hard?
I have never seen Die Hard.
What? Dude, you need to step off. You need to step off that soapbox and watch that movie. Because yes, Die Hard. Nope. Do not die on this hill, my friend. You deserve to watch Die Hard.
I'm gonna watch Breaking Bad. I'm never gonna watch The Wire. People talk about these things, and I'm just like, there's no way it's as good as you say it's gonna be. It's like when you watch Citizen Kane for the first time after being told it's the greatest piece of cinematic work that's ever happened. You're like, this is fine.
I will tell you, though, you must have heard a ton of good news and good things about Spider-Man No Way Home, and I will tell you, it lives up. It lives up. So, yeah, that's all I'm going to say.
I've made it spoiler-free. I've come close, so I deleted the social media apps that I'm still allowed on, and I am just,
Dawn says, OMG, Patrick, and Matt says, Amen, Patrick. I don't know, man. I feel... Dude, Die Hard, man. I mean, you don't have to go into it saying this is going to be the best movie of all time, but you should watch it. You should know Die Hard. And again, I have a friend who has stood on this same hill about Toy Story, and I'm like, what is your problem? And he has kids now too, and he's like, I'm not going to watch Toy Story because again, probably the same thing that 82,000 people told him he should, and so he fought against it and said, nope, I'm not going to do it.
The more I watch Toy Story 1, I'm like, this is not a good movie. It's been far surpassed by what Pixar can actually do.
Quality-wise, there is no doubt. There is no doubt that it pioneered. It built everything, and that we would not have a lot of what we have today had it not been for that movie.
Toy Story walked so I almost said Luca. I do not like Luca.
Okay.
So Coco could run.
That's a solid pick. Okay, that's a solid pick.
All right. Coco's Pixar's fine. Sorry, we should go.
Yep. Thank you guys again so much. I hope you guys have a great holiday season. Please take some time, spend it with your family. Don't be like Howard in this movie. Spend the time with your family. It's more about the time you spend than the things you give. And we hope to see you. We will not be on until 2022 for Park Center or for Deep in the Plus. So we hope to see you come back in the new year. We're gonna be all fresh and ready with some great new content, some new ideas, and we would love to have you with us. So thank you very much, Patrick. Thanks for being here as always.
Always.
Happy holidays, my friend. We'll see you.
Happy holidays. We'll see you soon.